Hi there, welcome to your Max Scholar initial training video. I will be going over certain bullet points on my computer. I will send you the document so you can follow along. And we'll be going over different things and different components that Max Scholar will offer you and your students. As a general introduction, Max Scholar is an Orton Gillingham-based program that will help students learn and develop different phonics and reading skills. I've listed some of them here on the screen, but there's many more that are included on all the different programs that Max Scholar has. Within the software that Max Scholar offers you, there's multiple sub-programs, each of them covering different skills. First things first, what do you need to get started? First, you need a device. You can use almost any device to access the program. Old iPads are no longer supported, those big, chunky, heavy ones. Try to avoid those. But other than that, pretty much any device, any type of laptop or tablet, iPad, even phone will allow you access to the program. You need a browser. Make sure that that browser is always Google Chrome. You access the programs through a website, maxscholar.com, but it's very, very important that you remember and you tell the parents and you tell your students that they should always choose Google Chrome in order to access Max Scholar. And then you're going to need an account. Teachers get their own accounts, students get their own accounts, and that's what you use, your login details, that's what you use to access the program. There's different types of accounts. You will get a teacher account that gives you access to the dashboard, which has reports, settings that you can adjust for your class or for your students, and materials, which are additional resources that you can download, and they'll help you supplement the lessons that are in the software already. So you'll be able to build lesson plans and also do direct instruction. You also have access to MyMax. MyMax is actually the student site. It's where the programs and lessons are, the assessments, and so on. But you will have your own MyMax account with your same teacher login. You will have access to all programs and all levels, so you'll be able to navigate every component from a student's perspective. Then there's student accounts. Those only have access to MyMax. They'll have access to some programs and some levels, and that's going to be determined by either the results of the placement tests that they take when they first log in, or by the settings that you adjust for them through your teacher dashboard. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and briefly go over the tools or features that you have on your teacher dashboard. Here I've listed the menu options that you'll have. You'll have different types of reports that you can pull up, one focusing on progress or growth, the other focusing on usage and activity. You have settings that you can adjust, like I mentioned, for your class as a whole or for individual students. You can change, for example, which programs, how many programs they have access to, which levels they're assigned to, whether you want them to take the placement test or not. You can turn off certain features of different programs. So there's a lot of things that you can customize. I'll send you a guide that will give you instructions as to how to change certain things. Then you have licensing, which will allow you to see how many licenses your school or district still has available. Then there's the materials section, which again offers you resources that you can use to supplement the online instruction that is in the software. And then you'll be able to change your password once you log in. Little tip, as I mentioned a little bit ago, as a teacher, you have access to the teacher site, the dashboard, and the student site, MyMax. You can toggle back and forth between one and the other. So let me show you what that looks like. Here I have my Google Chrome. Notice that on the top right corner, there's the login button. And whether I'm a student or a teacher, I'm going to use the same process to log in. So here is what my teacher site looks like. You'll see the menu options on the left. I definitely recommend that you use the guide that I'll be sending you to understand the dashboard a little bit better. But the training right now will focus mostly on the student side, on MyMax. How do the students access the programs? How do they go through the lessons? How and when are they assessed? So the dashboard will be covered separately. Today, we'll focus on the student side. So as I said, you can toggle between your teacher side and your student side. In order to do that, I'm going to look at the top right section of my screen, and you'll see this orange button that says Go to MyMax. That takes me to my account as a student. So this is what the students will have access to, MyMax. So by going to the MyMax, you'll have access to all the programs, all the levels. You'll have no restrictions because you're logging in as a teacher and viewing the site from the student's perspective. But students will have some limitations. By default, if you see the tip at the bottom of my screen, you'll see that by default, students in grades K through 2 will take a phonics placement test and then a reading test. Students in grades 3 or higher will take just the reading placement test. And once those results are in, the system will automatically take those results to adjust which levels or which modules or which programs the students need to be on. So you have, as a teacher, unrestricted access to MyMax. Students, they might have maybe fewer programs and definitely less freedom, so to speak, to move through the specific levels and modules. They have to master things along the way. They have assessments along the way that will allow them to move forward within each program. As a little pointer, my grade level will also determine which icons appear on my screen by default. If I'm on grades kindergarten through 2nd grade, I'll only see the Max Phonics and Max Reading icons on my screen. If I'm on 3rd grade or above, I'll see all of these icons here. Keep in mind that many things that I say are the way that the system works by default, but you can change many things. For example, you can change who takes which placement test regardless of their grade. You can choose which icons will appear on the student's initial MyMax page, this one, regardless of their grade as well. So the way that I'll go through this training is how things work by default. But do keep in mind that there's different things that you can adjust, and that guide that I'll be sending you will guide you a little bit more as to what you can change and where you can change. So at this point, I want to start going over the programs. The programs on the top row of my screen right now are the core instructional programs of Max Scholar. That means that that's where I want the focus of my instruction to be. I can use more than one program. Usually students and teachers do toggle between 2 or more programs at a time. I don't have to finish one before starting the other. And the programs at the bottom of the screen are more for supplemental instruction, for reinforcing certain reading skills. But the focus of the time that my students spend on the program, I definitely want it to be on the programs that appear on the top of my screen right now: Max Phonics, Max Reading, and Max Words. We're going to start going over them in that order. Just so you know, Max Phonics would be the more basic type of skills like letter recognition, sound recognition, phonemic awareness, fluency, sight words, controlled readers. I'll go over consonants, short vowels, blends, and digraphs. Then we have Max Reading, which has content for K through 12 students. There's going to be reading, reading comprehension, vocabulary, outlines, summarizing. And then we get Max Words, which deals with multisyllabic words. Students will learn about syllabication, about spelling rules, prefixes, suffixes, roots. And then we'll spend a few minutes going over the game-based type of activities that the programs at the bottom of the screen offer me. Those are Max Music, Max Vocab, Max Places, and Max Bios. Keep in mind that once the students start working on the different programs, the system will pick up where they left off. So next time that they log in, they can just click continue to pick up from that place. If they wanted to, let's say, choose a different module or a different chapter to read, then they can just click on the circle icon that represents that program to go to the main screen and then choose a level, choose a story, and so on. If I want to just pick up from exactly where I left off, I'll use the continue button.